Good afternoon, Year 6, and welcome to a brand new term of computing. So last term we were really looking at that coding element of computing, and I saw some very successful versions of a maze game, so really well done. This term, especially because we're using our laptops and devices and iPads and phones so much more now that we're working remotely, we're going to spend this term really thinking about internet safety and how we can be safe when using our devices. So to start, today's learning objective is going to be to recognise red flag feelings online. And I'm going to go into what that actually means. So the elements of safety we're going to look at today are how well we know people that we interact with online, reflect on the information that we actually share with those people, and use the feelings and options routine to respond to anything that makes you feel a little bit unsure. So to start, you've got three things to think about if you're just checking. The bottom two are on the quiz that you will do at the end of the lesson. But the first one is just to think about, do you remember your team's login and password? So as a reminder for Year 6 children, it is 14, your first name, the initial of your last name at thepalmeracademy.com, and then capital TPA with your 6-digit birthday as the password. And then the other two questions about forever loops and Microsoft Word you can do on the quiz at the end. Okay, so how do we stay safe online? So if you're on a laptop, please spend 10 minutes or so going on to Dance Mat Touch Typing on BBC to really practice those quick touch typing skills you started last term. For everyone else, key vocabulary that we are going to be talking about today. The word inappropriate, something being not acceptable in the situation or not okay. Private information is information about you that can be used to identify yourself. It's unique, you know, your name, your full name, your address, your mobile number, your email address, anything that's unique to just you. A red flag feeling that I mentioned on the learning objective. When something happens on digital media that makes you feel uncomfortable, worried, sad, or anxious. I kind of say it gives you that funny feeling in your tummy. It's something's not quite right. And also the last word, risky, something that is potentially harmful to someone's well-being or safety. Okay, so in this day and age, and especially at the moment, as I said, there are lots of ways we all communicate. I'm communicating to you now via the internet, but also through lots of other devices. It's so important that therefore we are very sure that we can be safe in the way we communicate, whether it be on a phone, whether it be on a chat room, whether it be on social media. So I'm just going to play a video now. I'm going to stop sharing this screen and reshare another screen, and I'll get rid of my face for three minutes or so that you can spend some time listening to this video.
There are a lot of people out there who aren't who they say they are, in small ways and big ways.
I think it is totally fine for someone to become friends with someone online, but you have to be very, very careful.
You know, they're thinking over their text and their pictures could be fake.
On social media, you can talk to people, but like you can't really get your emotion across.
Talking to strangers online, it's 50-50.
Some of the benefits of online relationships, it's definitely easier to interact and talk to people because you're thinking about what you're saying and you just are more comfortable.
Right, so some of the greatest parts about having a friendship with someone online is that they're easily accessible. You can just text them, be like, hey, what's up? And you can have that sort of immediate connection all the time.
If you are in a smaller community, becoming friends with someone online allows you to become friends with someone who has a similar interests as you, and you can have a really good friendship with someone.
I really do enjoy playing video games. Connecting with other people, whether they're strangers or if I'm playing with my friends and talking to them and, you know, doing something together. I think that that's really fun, that we can all enjoy the same thing.
You don't feel like you actually have to deal with this person. So if they don't like what you're saying, they can leave. And if you don't like what they're saying, you can leave.
Sometimes having conversations can just be they can make you sort of anxious. When you're online, you're behind the screen. It'll make it easier for them to say things that they want to say, that they might not say in real life.
There is a very significant difference between a real friendship and an online friendship. That's not to say that your online friendships aren't real. It's just that they're different.
There's something called IBF, so internet best friends, and basically they text and they become best friends, but they haven't met them in real life.
I felt a lot of genuine trust between the people that I talked to online because they were really close friends of my close friends. It's just, I think trust is the main thing.
So I have become friends with people who are friends of friends, or I know through other people. I'll add them on, Instagram or Snapchat, whatever it is I'm using. And maybe I'll just say hi or just start a conversation.
There's things that you can tell people online that you can't tell people in real life. At the same time, you have to know how to be safe, right?
I would say I'm more comfortable talking face to face because on social media, you can talk to people, but it's hard to communicate a sense of realness and emotions.
If the person is a total stranger to you, they may have an alternative motive trying to get other information out of you.
They might be pretending to be somebody that they're not. They might be using you for something.
Please don't tell people online your full name or where you live.
You don't actually know who they really are, and you need to be sure that they're okay.
I think a lot of people assume that because you have a friend online and they're kind of not always in your day-to-day and you can choose and edit what you say to them, that it's always going to be good. But it's still a relationship. It's still two people. And you're giving them a lot of information about yourself.
Okay, so hopefully you picked up lots of really important information, and that a lot of that rings true for your friendships online, on any communication devices you use, any chat rooms, any games, any phone, WhatsApp, social media, all of those things. So let's think about it a little bit more. Why should we consider how well we know someone before we online? Why is that important? And really think about that, how well we know someone. Why is that bit important? So pause the screen. You can jot down a few ideas here. Why should we consider how well we know someone before we share that information? Okay. It can be risky to share information with someone that actually it turns out you do not know very well. If it's not someone you've met in person, it's not someone who's a friend of a friend, it's completely random, it could be harmful. Sadly, with the internet, you can't build that trust as well as if you know someone face to face, because actually the person on the other end of the screen may not be the person that they are saying they are. And private information is unique to just you. And that's the part that makes it slightly risky, because actually, if you're trying to be really safe and you're protecting yourself and you've got a username rather than your full name, and then suddenly you share that information with that person, if you do not know them and you don't trust them with that information, that could be shared to other people. It could also, in the worst case scenario, lead that person to actually being able to find you and actually be able to find your address or cause you harm in another way. So it's really, really important. Let's think of some scenarios to kind of bring this into real life. I'm going to show you two, and I want you to decide which one is more risky. Okay, so there'll be two to think about, and this is number one. So this is Sarah, and she's going to be in both stories. Sarah's soccer coach connected her with a seal, a player he coaches from a nearby town. Sarah and a seal both play goalie and have other common interests like playing in a band. They have been chatting off and on for about a month through a social media messenger app. They talk about games and problems they're having at school with friends. They have shared when and where they will be playing soccer. They have also told each other their team names, their logos, and their favourite soccer fields in the area. Last week, a seal sent her some memes of soccer players that included some bad language and inappropriate images. A seal mentioned that she should probably make sure her parents don't see. So that's scenario one. Here's scenario two. Sarah loves taking pictures and posting them to Instagram. A few months ago, she noticed Alex_EastWest13 liked several of her photos and commented, "You are so talented." Sarah was flattered. Then she received a private message from Alex asking if she was a professional photographer or if she wanted to be one someday. Sarah responded that it was her dream to be one when she grew up. Now they talk a lot through private messaging. Sarah also posts comments on Alex photos, which are mostly of random objects and nature scenes. Last week, Alex asked if she would post some more selfies because I think you are beautiful. Alex also messaged her cell number so she could send more personal pictures. Just don't tell anyone I gave you this, Alex commented. So I want you to pause the screen here and think about which is a riskier communication. And actually, what information did Sarah share each time? So if you're wanting to pause the screen, here's number 2, and here's number 1, if you want to pause the screen. And answer those 2 questions. Which situation is riskier? And what information, what personal information has Sarah shared? Okay, so let's think through some of those things. Let's start with number 1. The information that they have shared. So this is someone that Sarah knows through someone. So it is definitely a real person because her soccer coach, which is a trusted person, has connected her with this person. So we know that a seal is real as such and that they have common interest. And Sarah has shared when and where her team will be playing, and also her team's name, the logo, and the fields in the area. Now, the risk there is that actually, if a seal wanted to turn up to see Sarah, Sarah has given the information, but actually she doesn't know, a seal doesn't know Sarah's full name, what, whether her family will be there. There's not that much information that potentially could be risky. And it is someone that knows a friend of hers. So I would suggest that this one is much more risky because actually this is someone completely random. Yes, they have a username Alex_EastWest13, but we do not know who that is at all. Also, they're now communicating privately over a messenger, not just over the kind of photographs. You know, this is now on a private kind of messenger chat that can't be seen by everyone. Now, although Sarah hasn't given much information away, she did let the person know that she wants to be a photographer. And now that person is asking more about sending photos and pushing her, and that comment, don't tell anyone I gave you this number. There's something secretive going on there. And that's also a sign that something is not quite right if someone is telling you not to show something to someone. That leads us onto that red flag feeling. When something happens that makes you think, I'm not sure about that, whether it makes you feel uncomfortable or actually worried or angry or anxious. It's a warning. It's a red flag to say, actually, something's not quite right. For example, that person shouldn't be asking me that, or it feels like something I shouldn't be doing. So I've got some examples of red flag feelings underneath, but actually you might be able to make a list of your own, kind of those red flag feelings. You know, you guys are in year 6 and you do use social media, some of you, or chat rooms on your games. And actually you need to be aware of what would constitute a red flag feeling. So for example, if someone asked you to keep information secret, if they said, right, here's a bit of information, but don't tell anyone. Flirting with you, making you feel uncomfortable. Asking you anything private, asking for your phone number or your address or which school do you attend. Making you feel pressured to do something, really putting the pressure on. No, come on, you should do this, you should do this. Causing you to feel untrue to yourself if it's something you don't normally do and they're making you feel like you should. Asking you to meet in person. If this is not someone you've ever met in person before and you know that they are that person, then they shouldn't be asking to meet. Asking you to send any pictures of yourself or anyone else for that matter. Or inviting you to chat privately, but telling you not to tell anyone so that it would be secret. Those are some examples. Pause the screen and have a think. You may have even experienced something, but on reflection, you're thinking, actually, that's probably a red flag feeling. Jot some notes down so you've got them written down as examples of that feeling, that warning. Okay, let's keep going then. So when we get that red flag feeling, we're going to follow this kind of process. It's the feelings and options. So identify who are the different people involved in a scenario and what challenge is there. Now, it might be you or it might be someone else. You identify what the problem is and who is involved. Feelings. We think about, what do you think Sarah is feeling? What would you be feeling? Why is it challenging? Why is it giving you that feeling in your tummy that something's not quite right? And you imagine, Imagine the options. What could happen? Again, if it be Sarah or be yourself, right, I could do this, or I could do this, or I could do this. Now, once you have an options list, then you need to decide which one would lead to the most positive outcome. Maybe a few of them would, but one of them will ring true to you, like, actually, I think that will get the best result. And then you need to say, you need to pick your solution, and you need to think about what are you going to say either to that person or to another adult to resolve that situation. So using those 4 stages, I want you to have a go, pause the screen, and think about those 4 stages for Sarah's interaction with Alex. Again, if you need to go back to the screen where I paused it, you can. Identify who are the people involved, what is the dilemma, what do you think Sarah is feeling, why is it challenging, what are the options that Sarah has and which would have the best outcome, and then what should Sarah say? What should she actually say to Alex or say to a family member? There might be a number of people that she would say something to. So pause the screen and have a go at answering those 4 questions. Okay, I want to focus in on that kind of last section. What do you actually say? What do you actually do? These are some of the things I came up with. You can change the subject, make a joke and say, oh, I don't want to talk about that anymore, and steer the conversation away. Change the subject, say, and make it clear that you're not going to talk about that. You can log off and quit the session, come off the chat, come out of the private message, delete it. You could unfriend or block the person. You could even make a new account if you need to, or report the user if you're on a social media where you can report people. One main message is you never plan a face-to-face meeting with someone you don't know unless your parent or guardian is going with you. Really clear message. If someone is asking you to meet up, the answer is no, I don't know you, or yes, but we will bring parents and guardians. And the last one is really important. If ever you're unsure of the next step and something's making you feel uncomfortable and you're not sure what to do, you ask a trusted adult for advice. You go to a teacher, you go to a parent, you go to even an older sibling. What should I do? It's making me feel uncomfortable. They may have had experience of these things and can help guide you a little bit further. Hopefully you came up with some of those in your options. Okay, so what I would like you to do is if you're working from home, there is a quiz on Teams that just revises some of those steps that you would take to be safe in your interactions and what you are sharing online. If you're in school, I would like you to stick in the 2 scenarios, Sarah and Alex, and the Sarah and, forgotten the other person's name, Seal, and complete the feelings and options questions in your book or in your folder. And then you can also complete the quiz on Teams to get you on the laptops doing your practice with your touch typing. So if any concerns come out of this, or if you're reflecting on a conversation now that we've talked about those red flag feelings, you know you can go to those trusted adults. So really, really well done, guys. I'm looking forward to exploring this topic a little bit further with you next week. Bye.